Hey, so we're sat in Norway, as we've been for a little bit of time, and we've set up a nice little fire, nice little lounge set up. I'm currently getting smoked out by the fire. So myself and Justin are joined by Ant Lambert, who is one half of the Mad Explorers, and join us for a little bit of a wee dram.
We dram by the fire.
Joined by this bottle was given to me by Rory Copinger-Symes, and he's put together a blended whiskey Commando Spirit, and so since we've got Commando, and well, there we are. They thought we'd sit down and have a little bit in front of the fire and spin a few dits, basically.
Perfect.
Exactly. So, but interestingly, Ant's on a bit of a final phase of an adventure.
Yeah.
So, what was your adventure?
So, I was in obviously I was in the Royal Marines, and along with another lad, Louis Nethercott, in 2016, we came up with the unique idea to become the first humans to traverse the 5 largest islands on the planet using only human power. So the 5 largest islands are Borneo, New Guinea, that's Papua New Guinea, and the western half is Irian Jaya, Madagascar, Greenland, and Baffin Island. And right now we've done 4, so we've only got left to do Baffin Island, which in about 3 weeks' time we'll probably be getting on the plane to go and do. So it's been fairly interesting, to say the least, the past few years. And it started on a night not dissimilar to this, just a couple of bootnecks drinking some whiskey and shooting some crazy ideas around, and then somehow we stumbled upon this USP to become the first 2 people to do this crazy expedition, and the hangover didn't put us off, and we followed through. We started approaching people like yourself, stating our intention, and people showed a lot of belief in the fact that we would be able to do it. Invested kit, invested money, and so far, we've paid that back in the sense that we've done 4 and we're not dead yet. So,
so how does Baffin differ from the previous 4?
So Baffin Island, we left back. So in the first few weeks when we started planning this set of adventures, we were looking at the maps and looking at where we were going to go. And Baffin Island is the smallest of the 5 islands, but technically it is easily the most difficult. The way Louis described it was Scotland on steroids. It is.
Is that because of the locals, or is that?
There's no iron brew. It's the mountains there are off the chart. Like you've got Mount Thor out there, which has got the largest vertical cliff drop on Earth. It's about 1,300 meters just straight down. You've got ice caps. You've got polar bears, you've got wolves. It's a crazy island. If you think it is, I think it's about 2.5 times the size of the UK in mass, and it's got a population of 10,000. Yeah. So that's like, I think it's like something like 72,000 more people in Britain than there is in Baffin. So there's nothing there in terms of settlements except for around the outside, and we're going to go right into the centre. Ascend an ice cap, descend on the other side for a massive mountain pass. Technically it is going to be the most difficult one we've done, for sure.
So how many days?
We're packing 35 days worth of food. So it's got to take us 35 days or less. Otherwise, one of us is getting eaten.
Well, I think Louis probably is. Well, it's not necessarily huge. It's more not as much flesh, maybe. Nah. But I'm gonna put my money on you for maybe winning.
Yeah.
So
depends who's got the shooter.
Well, exactly. Well, and there you are. So what have you got to take with the polar bears?
Yeah.
What have you got to do about those?
So we're clearly going to have a firearm for the polar bears. Yeah. We've also got in terms of a deterrent, we're taking it's like you'll be familiar with trip flares like we used in the Marines. So we've got trip flares, but instead of them lighting up, they work off blank shotgun rounds. So
Oh, really?
If something comes into the tent, hopefully it doesn't get in the tent, but something comes into our campsite, we'll hear it and be able to either scare it away or, shoot the thing.
So compared to Baffin Island, risk, polar bears, not fluffy and cuddly.
Yeah.
What other threats have you had to deal with on your adventure so far?
So Greenland was a similar threat. We had polar bears in Greenland, and obviously the temperature, and you get these storms in Greenland, like they're very localized, but they blow like hurricanes. They call them pitteracks. You normally get them in the spring, but sometimes you can get them later on in the season, and they're just crazy. They just come out of nowhere, and at that point you've got to be fully squared away with your kit and your admin and getting the tent up. It's it sounds like a really small thing, but if you lose that tent, you're gonna die fairly fast. In Madagascar, we went to Madagascar during it was the biggest outbreak of the bubonic plague in modern times. So it was we were like watching the news before we went, and we were like, oh geez, there's this plague outbreak, and like we were like, shall we still go? We're like, well, we booked the flights, of course we're still going. But we got out there, and so that was interesting, going through communities that were completely decimated by the plague, and that was a big danger for us, making sure we didn't catch any disease or anything like that.
Yeah.
Papua New Guinea, that's probably, I've said it before, it's probably been my favourite island that we've done, but the risk there was like, it is just the most crazy place on earth. Like, you've got kids and like locals cutting about with homemade guns.
What?
They find these old munitions in the jungle from the Second World War, cut the barrel off, and then they do something with it, but they normally attach a staple gun to one end and then just get shotgun shells, and so it's just a crazy violent place, but it's an incredible place at the same time. So out there, like the big danger for us was the locals. And trying to stay on side with the locals. We had a few run-ins with some unfriendly locals out there, and then in Borneo, getting smoked out. And in Borneo, I think the biggest threat we faced in Borneo was our terrible planning, which caused us to nearly come unstuck a couple of times, where we ended up in the centre of the jungle. We knew where we were, but we were fairly far away from being able to get any help, and we nearly ran out of food, and then we would have been in a really difficult position.
So what's been the worst bit of kit that you've had on these expeditions, and what's been the best bit of kit that you've had on these expeditions?
I would say the worst piece of kit that we had was probably the first Bergen that we took. And it was like a military style Bergen, and it was awful. Like, the buckles snapped on it. We ended up using like paracord to try and like lash it together, but you imagine carrying like 40 kilograms with paracord cutting into your shoulder. It was it was not a nice place to be in. And in terms of the best piece of kit, it's probably been, as simple as it sounds, a pair of woolen mitts. And like a woolen mitts, or a sleeping bag. But I think the woolen, the woolen mitts we wore in Greenland, it's just like pure morale when your hands are going down.
It's quite often those like simplest bit of kits that make the biggest difference, though, isn't it? So what about? Because obviously we're
smoking us out completely.
I might be the only non-commando, but I had the sense not to sit in the smoke.
Well, there we are. Yeah. Well, it's not that I'm emotional, but it's just the smoke that's coming in and doing my eyes. But yeah, sorry, go on, mate.
So we're obviously providing you with some of the kit. Some of the biggest items of kit that you're going to be taking to Baffin with you. Maybe just run us through some of those key items that we're supplying you with, and your thoughts about them.
So you guys you guys are providing the pulk, which is clearly an integral bit of an expedition. In Greenland, we opted to take some cheap almost middle Isle little jobbies, and they worked all right up until we hit the crevasse field, and then they were just completely unworkable.
Yeah.
Louis ended up falling into a crevasse because he got dragged in by one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't a very deep one. Otherwise, he'd have been
Brown bread.
Yeah, he'd have been good night Vienna. So that, being able to talk to you guys and explain the situation we were in with regards to the polk and the relationships that you have with brands like Acapulco has meant that we're in a fantastic position to be able to take what is essentially the world's best polk out on an expedition with us. And you guys are providing the sleeping bag, and obviously in polar expeditions, the one of the key things is moisture management, because you sleep in your tent, you get moisture on the bag, that freezes, and then you have a wet bag for the remainder of the expedition. And so the fact that you guys will give us this bag that. What's the name of the
Tab.
Yeah.
So it's one my brother did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
So the story on it goes, so a few years back, I had a call from the MLs about the sleeping bags for Norway. And they were like, right, we need to find a sleeping bag that goes down to this temperature, and it's got to be synthetic.
Yeah.
Okay, not a problem at all. So we gave them a load of bags, and it was a case of, well, we like that here and this there and that there. So all we did was sat down. So obviously my brother heads up OMM, and they do a lot of the lightweight insulation stuff, but obviously they work with the factories that do it. And said, well, I need something that has all those components,
right,
and that bit a little bit bigger or that bit a little bit smaller. Away you go. So him and his team put that together. So yeah, we made a load of them just sort of trial and test. So they're sort of at that first proper phase from there. So it'll be really interesting to see what you think. But from what everybody that's used it in the cold, they've been really, really happy.
And I think that's one of the reasons that we're engaging with you guys on this expedition. Not only that, we'll get on, you're good blokes. We believe that you're going to be doing this, and and that we want to support you. It's right for us. Is that actually this new range of equipment that we have put together? We've gone through and tested as much as we possibly can, and we're confident that it suits the environment and is the right piece of kit. But what you're going to be doing is proving it externally to what we've been able to prove it.
Yeah, in some extremely challenging
conditions for a sustained duration of time. So it's so we're really looking forward to getting the feedback from that kit, and what you thought about it, and
my bag report.
Your bag report. that could be many things. Let's be honest. So let's be careful. But no, exactly. And I think what you guys have done. Yes, there's the physical challenge of it, but just having the commitment to just keep going forward and batter through the organisational challenges more than anything else, and actually getting to a point where you could say, well, because it's taken a bit of time, what with COVID in the way and everything like that, to get to the point where we can actually go and do this. And it's you guys have not, you're not hugely resourced financially or whatever. You're just two mad lunatics that thought this was a great idea, and once committed, that's it, you're in. I'd hate to play spoof against you. But I think it's I suppose 35 days, get out there, get it smashed, good challenge, come back. Obviously, as you said, you did maybe lose a little bit of weight on your Greenland trip.
Yeah, I could probably use with losing the weight. So I'm.
Well, no, I think you've prepared your body successfully for an event that is going to require a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So you're going to. This is a very extreme way of getting the beach bod.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine.
It's fun. It's funny to see how me and Louis cope on these expeditions, because Louis is quite a lot leaner than me, and usually in the first week or so he is pulling out ahead of me.
Really?
He's stronger and clearly fitter, but normally give it the 2 week mark, we swap.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because attrition's a hell of a thing on these things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't really take that into account, like the attrition and the effect it has on your body.
Yeah.
And normally, pretty much most of the expeditions we've done, by the end of it, I'm head and shoulders in better condition than him. Just, I think purely because I'm a bit fatter and more robust.
Louis, obviously, you could place a comment on this. We like to see, but I think there's a bottle on it.
Yeah.
You know, who's going to be the stronger finisher. But no, oh man, it's been because you've been here, you know, come over for a few days, been helping us out with a few bits and bobs. You know, being a real chance to properly get to know you, and it's been a fortunate and great opportunity.
Yeah.
And you know, I know. We wish you the absolute best of luck
Yep.
getting across there. And before we smoke you to death, and you're a kipper, you know, just wish you all the best, you and Louis. And when you get back, then we'll hang one on.
Definitely.
God help us all.
I mean, like you mentioned, neither myself or Louis are you know, very like you know, we're not from a very affluent background.
No.
And we're not you know, in terms of things like that. But when we decided to do this expedition, there was a few people we approached, and there was a few people that told us to do one in, you know, no uncertain terms. But you know, we approached you fairly early on, and it's only because of brands like yours and other people that have shown the belief in us to do this that we're sat 4 islands down, not dead, and
Not dead.
not dead, and
There's a
you know,
win.
you know, fingers crossed, about to successfully do the 5th one. So you know, I say it honestly that, you know, we're both extremely grateful for everything you guys have done.
No, it's a pleasure.
And you know, I truly appreciate it.
No, spot on. Well, we look forward to hearing the dits.
Oh yeah,
God
there'll
help
be
you.
plenty.
And see you on the other side.
Next
Yep.
time, I'll light the fire as well.
Whoa, come on.
Come on.
Well, it was beautiful a minute ago.
Yeah.
So anyway, in a absolutely gorgeous place. We're up on the side of the mountains in Norway. Absolutely beautiful setting. Being smoked to death. Well, we'll see you when you get back.
Thank you.
Please, if you've got any questions for Louis, sorry. Fucking hell, mix you up.
Oh, I haven't
So-
got a ginger beard.
No. If you've got any questions for the team or whatever, then give them a shout. Give them your support. And
We'll be posting updates on how you guys are getting on
Yeah.
when you're out there.
Thank
So
you.
yeah.
Obviously, we've done this challenge for the Royal Marines charity on our Instagram, all that good stuff. We've got the link for the Just Giving in our bio. And what we say is just chuck the charities a £5 for a great cause. You know, we've got a lot of friends that got injured during Afghanistan, and so we really appreciate if people are inspired by what we've done and the journey we've done, if they want to just, you know, pay for the laughs and the inspiration we've given them by just chucking the charities a £5, we really appreciate that as well.
We'll be putting a link in the description below, as they say, to all of that sort of stuff, onto
nice
your
one.
website, Spencer.
great. Anyway, take care, guys. See you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.